So, this daily meditation thing is completely transforming my life for the better. I've been meditating for over a decade at this point, practicing different techniques, different methods, learning from different teachers. And I recently got to do a 10-day Vipassana meditation, which is a very specific, very ancient type technique of meditation where really all you're doing is observing reality as it is. They ask you not to imagine, not to believe, not to pray to any god or goddess. Just follow your breath. Just stay present with what is in this moment. So it's a really beautiful technique for getting one back to the present moments. You're not invoking some future blessing. You're not praying to heal your past. The focus is on the present moment. So by focusing on the breath and by doing this daily in the morning and in the evening, I've completely transformed my life. And it really is an inner transformation. So a lot of change has been happening externally. I feel way more in the flow. I feel way more able to listen to what I'm supposed to be doing, and my intuition feels quite sharp. And I feel very abundant. I feel very rich. I feel like I'm listening, right? So I'm finding myself more and more in these beautiful places with beautiful people, having beautiful opportunities to teach, to share. I also do music, and I just find my life has really leveled up leveled up in my relationships and my understanding of life, my place in life. Really finding the ego gets checked um, in beautiful ways, because it's easy to live for yourself. It's easy to be selfish, not in the right way, and focus on yourself, like be very self-centered. And I think we all go through that. We all have to go through that lesson. But this practice, in addition to that, there's also the metta meditation, which is a beautiful loving kindness meditation. And the practice is to bless yourself, bless those around you, and bless the world. So all of this practice, all of this teaching falls under what is called dharma, which is the law, which is essentially truth, the truth of reality as it is, not as you would want it to be. So it really checks the ego. It really, I think many meditation practices I've done actually inflate the ego, and they make it very much about you in that ego sense, and meditate for abundance, and meditate for for blessings, and for manifestation, right? And all these hot topics of the day. And yeah, they have their place for sure, but there's something so beautiful about just finding simplicity to be enough, finding, your life, your karma, finding my life to be enough. I really feel like this practice helps me be more present with my life, with my family, with my partner, with my friends, with myself, right? And not try to be something I'm not, and accepting that I'm in this one and you're in that one. And yes, the quantum is 100% real. It's absolutely real, and all possibilities are possible. But by the very fact that we exist in this three-dimensional realm, 3D, 4D, advancing to 5D and above, the beauty of life is to choose and to decide, right? Like this palm tree behind me isn't trying to be a mango tree, right? The palm tree is being the best freaking palm tree it can be, right? When you look at a mango tree or a papaya tree, like they're being the best freaking mango or papaya tree, right? You look at a tomato plant, it's being fully its tomato-ness. It's not trying to be an apple tree, right? It's not trying to be an apple plant. So the practice is about coming back to reality as it is, not as you want it to be. And because you practice this so often, because I've started to practice it daily, the mind, you also, I've also learned how the mind is a tool. And I wasn't raised really, understanding it. I don't think a lot of the Western world really is taught what the mind is. We're programmed, right? If you go to school, the government, religion, they program you. They understand that the mind is a very powerful, malleable substance, right? It's honestly magic once you really start to understand it. And you can change it, right? So all those negative habits you have, all and the good ones, right? But especially for the negative ones that we would like to change, they're changeable, like they're malleable. The mind is so incredible, right? The thing is, you just get used to doing what you're doing, right? I got used to my habits. I got used to the stories I was telling myself. And the mind is so amazing and so powerful that you'll believe it, right? You start to believe your own stories. You start to believe your own lies at times. And you start to believe that, you can't change this, or I'm just this way, or whatever, right? The more you think a thought and the more you believe it, the more solid it becomes, to the point where you say, this is who I am, this is my identity, right? But this beautiful practice kindly, gently starts to cut off all these illusions that you think of who you are. Because if you really accept the premise that you're gonna accept reality as it is, not as I want it to be, you're gonna start to get tested and challenged for all the beliefs that you think are you, right? So all the things I thought were me, if I really allow and open myself up to this practice where I'm gonna observe reality as it is, not as I want it to be, if that's not real, or if it's not founded in truth, it's gonna get challenged and pushed out, right? And you start to see how much of your life is not real, is a fiction of the imagination. And all your problems, all my problems are not, they're relatively real. So yes, they do exist. And yes, if I feed them, they'll grow. So yes, but also they're relatively real. If I step beyond them, I can see a reality that is so much bigger, so much more loving, so much more simple and peaceful. This practice takes me to that place, right? And doing it daily, again, the mind can be trained and it can be reprogrammed. So I'm living a very beautiful, peaceful existence, And it wasn't always this way. I definitely experienced depression and sadness and existential, crises, and the mind was very active, right? You'll notice that your mind is super active. And because we're living these very beautiful modern lives with so much stimulation, you get so much input. Our ancestors didn't have all this social media, craziness, where you're just at the swipe, you're just tuning into a million different realities, right? Life was much more analog. It was much more simple. So we have this added blessing and curse of having access to everything, but also being distracted by everything. So this practice has really helped me to narrow in on my part of this universe, right? My slice of the universe, and not get too distracted by other voices, other noises, because it's very crazy out there, right? And if your mind isn't strong, you'll get pulled in different directions and maybe lose yourself for some time, right? You'll go off on some crazy side quests And then you look back and you're 5 years older, right? You're 10 years older. Now you know, it's tricky, but the practice is very simple, and it's about following your breath, right? It's about focusing on the area of the nose and then really tapping into the sensations you're having in your body, not running away from them, right? The mind wants to run to the past or to the future. It's very difficult for the mind to stay present in the moment. But when you start training it, once you start making it a habit, right? In the same way you've made a habit of watching Netflix, or you've made a habit of just scrolling for hours, you've made it a habit to, whatever your habit is, um, we can change that, right? We can change that, and we can develop new habits, healthier habits that might not give you the same satisfaction you're getting from your craving, from your, addiction of choice. But in the long term, this is way more sustainable. Like, I very much enjoyed smoking cannabis and, doing the occasional plant medicine, and they were helpful. They had their place, right? They got me to the next step. But now it's so clear that the way to live is, for the most part, sober, right? And very tapped in and very connected to the magic of life, right? Like, it's not, life isn't dry. Life is actually so full for me these days. I'm so exciting, because I'm able to see. I'm not in my own shit, I'm not here. I'm actually here in the world, and you realize that you're part of the world. Like, you're an extension of Earth. You're an extension of the universe, actually, right? We all are, but we've been so conditioned to live in our thoughts, right? I invite you to check yourself. Like, am I living in my thoughts, or am I actually living in the world, in the universe, in life, right? Because so many of us have, very beautiful intellects and very developed minds, but we're actually not living in the world, and our mind is actually controlling us. So this practice helped me get through all that, to see reality clearly for what it is. Yes, I have all these desires and these cravings and these dreams that I would love for myself, and many of them are worth chasing and working for. But for the most part, all of that stuff has fallen away, and I'm just living here. I'm not caught in some race, some rat race of trying to do something for some other, reason or means. No, I'm living in the moment, and I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying life. I'm not chasing. We're so much of our role models in this life, in this culture, is like chasing and, you know living for the next day and stuff, and like balance. That's the other beautiful lesson I've learned, is balance. Is find your balance. Find what works for you. We're not all built the same. We don't all have the same dreams and desires and cravings and aversions, but put this into practice. Meditate every day. Find some time to meditate. And the beauty of that is you're protecting your energy, right? You're protecting your space. You're creating a temporary bubble shield where you can be with yourself, and you can finally hear what's going on inside you, right? Meditation really helped me get in touch with myself, like I said, with my intuition, with my inner power, so that I can live the best life that I can, and I can be here right now talking to you about this, right? And I think really that's what life is about, is to be enjoyed, is that we remember that we're these beautiful spiritual beings having human experiences. And man, we're living in this beautiful world, this beautiful planet, right? That is so fruitful, so abundant, right? So if this resonates, I highly invite you, encourage you to start meditating. Don't waste your life in your thoughts, thinking about things, or working a job that you don't like, or doing things that you're not passionate about, because it's a short life and it's going to be over soon, right? So enjoy it, be present for it. Yeah, I hope this helped. Doing a lot of videos like these days. I'm super inspired. I want to also share more about my 10-day silent meditation retreat experience, which was beautiful and really eye-opening and illuminating on so many levels. So, yeah, I hope this helped to make your day a little more peaceful, maybe more make you a little more curious about meditating and take the courage to find a seat, a comfortable seat, and just set a timer for 10 minutes, 15 minutes to meditate, to clear your mind, to come back to this present moment, which is where everything is happening. And it's a beautiful place to be. I'm sending you so much love, peace. Be well.